I worked on my grandparents' farm when I was younger for about 5 years of my life, and I've had some close calls during that time. We had a runaway tractor going down a hill. We flipped a few hay wagons, and I rode a 500-pound sow backwards. Not on purpose, of course, but nothing terrified me more than when nitrogen almost killed me. So how did this happen? What risks do farmers face from nitrogen, or more specifically, nitrogen compounds? Is it A, an ammonium nitrate explosion?
What the? Holy shit!
B, asphyxiation from ammonia gas? C, exposure to a cryogenic liquid of ammonia? D, physical trauma from a road accident involving an anhydrous ammonia tank.
Here's I got one victim down on the road, possibly one in the car. I'll be needing some assistance. What's the ETA on fire and ambulance?
1222 Uppingham, 10-4. Ken Mundialma Fire Department advises ETA 5 minutes, ambulance 5 to 7 minutes.
We can go ahead and rule out option A. We didn't really use too much ammonium nitrate on the farm. We primarily would apply ammonia as fertilizer. So here's the story. It was March 2001, and we were prepping fields. Oh, come on, Jack. Come on. It was March 2001, and we were prepping the fields for corn planting. Corn's got to have nitrogen.
Corn loves nitrogen. That's simple enough, isn't it?
Corn's gotta have nitrogen if you're gonna get any yield out of it.
I'll have some escape. It's headed right toward me here. Now you saw it squirting out. Hard for me to walk behind. You can see it here.
And we headed out to the local farm supply store to pick up a tank of anhydrous ammonia.
Good. Oh yeah, right there. We've got several out. Reserve.
The thing to understand about these tanks is that they are heavy. Depending upon the size of the tank, there can be anywhere between 7 to 10 tons of ammonia in there, and that's a lot of weight. So we hooked up the tank, and we started driving it back to the farm. And the plan was to bring it back to the farm and hook it up to a tractor, and then haul that down to a field where we were going to be cultivating and eventually planting corn. However, as we were driving back to the farm, we had this great idea that we would just drive the tank directly down to the farm. After all, it was along the way, and that seemed like a good idea at the time, instead of backtracking to the farm and then taking it slowly up the road with a tractor. There was one problem. The field we were going to, the only access was down a steep gravel road. And so remember, these tanks can weigh anywhere between 7 and 10 tons. And it turns out, when we were on that hill, the force exerted on the truck from gravity pulling on that tank was a bit greater than the resistance between the tires and the rock road. So we started to slide. The brakes are on the truck. The tires aren't rolling, but we are just sliding down the hill. And I don't know how far it was, but it seemed like it took forever. And I know it's cliche to say your life flashed before your eyes, but I gotta tell you, it sure felt like that. I remember just sliding down the hill, and the helplessness of it. You're just completely at the mercy of physics at that point. And I remember looking down the road and seeing a curve, almost a 90-degree curve. And what's even more terrifying than that was the steep drop off the hill just on the other side of the tree line. And it's that tree line that actually saved the day, because as we were sliding down the hill, the tank pushed us into a tree and into somebody's pile of firewood. But even as the truck stopped, the tank kept sort of pushing us sideways, and for a moment I thought we were going to go over the edge. Thankfully we didn't, but that's not the end of it, because as soon as we actually stopped sliding down the hill, I remember turning around and looking behind me and just seeing that big looming tank right up in our faces. And during the collision, the valve became loose somehow, or damaged, I don't know. And I remember seeing liquid ammonia dripping out of that valve, and you could see the vapor coming out as well. And well, I never got out of a vehicle faster than I did that time. But so I guess the answer to the question about which was it, well, it's kind of B, C, and D. Ever since then, my least favorite time of the year was that time when we were applying anhydrous ammonia. And yeah, fuck ammonia. Anyways, that's the time nitrogen almost killed me. Cheers.